Hi, everybody. My name is Jerry Wise, and the topic I want to discuss today is ways or weird ways narcissistic parents or dysfunctional families shame you for changing. I think all of us have been in a situation in which we have tried to improve ourselves, tried to make changes in the relationships with people in our family. And if we do something more mature, or if we do something more self-differentiated, I might say, or more detached, or more grown up, what's the family's response to that? And certainly what would be a narcissist's response to that? Usually it's shame and derision is usually, because shame is the way to get you back into your place. You need to be shamed to get back into the place you belong, and not this new place. Who have you been talking to? And, you've probably been talking to some crackpot therapist or watching some crackpot videos or something like that. And they don't realize there are some real healing and helpful videos out there. They don't even care that there's helpful videos out there. So here's some examples of some of that shaming. Certainly the bullying can happen. Oh, well, now you think you're somebody. But don't you forget, we are always your parent. I am always your parent. Intergenerational intimidation. To get you to change back. That's their resistance. And in the program that I suggest that you take a look at down below in the description, you'll see in that program I'll talk about the stages of resistance and how you can fortify yourself with those. And going through the stages of resistance can really make a difference for you and can even affect the family in a positive way. So now you think you're somebody. Well, don't be acting so grown up, and why are you so serious? There's just that derision and shame that goes on. It's kind of a bullying, and it is intergenerational. I am your parent, so I really can deride you because I brought you into the world, and I supposedly loved you and love you. So love means I can deride you. Unfortunately, that's dysfunctional and unhealthy and a very bad belief system in this family super self that we've grown up in. Another way a family may shame you for changing or getting better or getting healthier, because again, health and maturity and getting better is not rewarded in a narcissistic home. And by the way, when I say narcissistic home, people will say, oh, or a narcissistic family. They'll say, oh, are you saying everybody's a narcissist in the family? No, when I use that from my own marriage and family therapy background, when I use that phrase, I'm saying there is a narcissist, and that affects all of the dynamics of the family. No different than if there's an alcoholic. You'll have an alcoholic family. It doesn't mean everybody's an alcoholic. It means they all dance to the tune of the alcoholic, because you don't have much choice. Most people don't, especially children. They don't have that kind of choice. So we do live in a narcissistic family, even though I'm not a narcissist, because I have to contend with the dynamics. So I hope I can clear that up for some people who think I'm saying everybody's a narcissist. So they will use fear. Hey, well, don't come to us when your decisions don't work out. Don't come to us when you confront your sister about her bad behavior. The fear factor. If you fall on your face, we're not going to be there to help you. So when you try to make changes for the better, there will be bullying or fear mongering that will take place from narcissistic parents. And of course, and number 3 is just direct shaming from childhood as well as adulthood. Well, I'm sorry, I just don't think you're smart enough to even do that. I don't know where you learned to do that, but it's not working. When you're just trying to be more yourself, more of an adult, less reactive, because they're used to the old you. You start changing the new you, and there'll be, excuse the language, hell to pay. And because a family can't tolerate that, and narcissists certainly cannot. Because and I think it's important to remember, if I act more mature than the narcissist, that hits their underlying shame. And they will retaliate because they unconsciously or consciously know they're not able to do that and don't like that. And so they must deride or criticize you or shame you if they can. And again, narcissistic families tend to be shame-based. It's a shame-based family. Let's say an example. I remember I sold leaves in cans. I grew up in a small town. We had a canning factory, tomato canning factory and sort. And so we had lots of cans. And I would put leaves in them, put them in my wagon, and go around and sell them to the neighbors. Well, I think I might have made 35 cents or whatever, which was a lot of money back then. And I would sell these leaves, but, it's kind of, a kid thing to do, and certainly wasn't going to make the money for my retirement in my life. I think I also sold insurance. My dad was a principal of a school, my school, but he also sold life insurance for many years. And so I would go out and sell this insurance to neighbors. And of course, neighbors who were kind and understanding, they might give me a dime or something for an insurance policy or something. But then later being criticized for that because it wasn't acceptable, or it wasn't successful, or it was kind of stupid, or it was kind of, I'm just being a kid, for heaven's sakes. That wasn't my lifelong career, but anything can be used to be criticized about or shamed about. You remember, Jerry, when you dropped, Dad was also a coach, basketball coach, when you dropped out of grade school basketball because I had a hard time not traveling. And my dad was a basketball coach, but my brother was good at basketball. I was not. And I felt very insecure, very, just had trouble being out there on the court. And I just I was awkward then. And I just don't think there was enough patience to kind of teach me what I needed to know. And again, just if you can't do this, what's wrong with you? And I think other people thought that too. Your dad's a coach. Your brother's good at basketball. What's wrong with you? So there's always that underlying shame that goes along with just learning to grow up and being a kid. Number 4 is causing family trouble. When you start maturing or start changing in a family, because I've worked with tens of hundreds, even thousands of people to change in their family, the family doesn't want them to change. Or if they want them to change, they only want them to change the way they want them to change, which oftentimes fits into the dysfunctional or narcissistic paradigm. So we want you to change within this paradigm. Start going around and being a puppy to the narcissist in the family, like some other siblings might be. You need to do that and change that way. Well, you may feel, as a scapegoat or more insightful part of the family, that that's not what I want to do. That's not healthy. I don't want to do that. I want to grow up. That's a direct challenge to your role that you're supposed to play. And now you're going to be causing trouble in the family. And you're the troublemaker. What is wrong with Jerry? Why is he acting that way? That's not the way we talk and act and feel and detach and love. And we don't do it that way. And I just don't know why you cause everyone such trouble in the family. That's a nice shaming experience. And remember, when people are saying should, must, have to, shoulds and oughts, and think shaming whenever you hear those words in a statement. Then, of course, if you're starting to change, you've got just direct threats. Well, you've been changing. You haven't been loving me the way you should be loving me and doing what I want and resisting lots of things I have asked you to do. Because you're going, wait a minute, I don't want to be enmeshed. I don't want to be your caretaker. You're quite capable of doing these things. So why am I doing them? Because your mother or father tells you you need to do them. Even though you're an adult, they're an adult, And they're not elderly or broken down in this way. They could do those things, but they want you to do them. And if you don't, then there can be threats. And I've talked with numerous clients who get screwed out of inheritance, an unfair inheritance division that goes on. I'll give it to all your brothers and sisters, but not to you. I'm going to leave you out. Then there's also the smear campaigns that are very shaming. And I think it's shaming when you are left out of a family inheritance. A mature adult doesn't look at all the kids and go, this is a bad one, this is a good one, this is a bad one, this is a good one. I'll give money to the bad one, not money to the good one, money to this good one, money to not that bad one. Now I understand inheritance can vary and there can be different reasons, but the point is, I think doing it in a mature way, seeking lawyer advice and following them, versus giving out inheritance based on the narcissistic family super self, is what actually happens. So, what do we do if we're being shamed by narcissistic parents? I think, first of all, we want to lower our expectations. Please stop thinking they're going to change. The reason why I say that is not to make you sad or hopeless or nihilistic or that there is no hope for anything. Why I'm saying that is much of what you're doing or how you're responding is based on some false hope. And so you're going to get hurt, it's going to be more problematic about that relationship. It's better if you have a realistic view of the narcissist and their shaming and blaming, because you touch their shame, they're going to shame shed you into oblivion, because they will shed the shame on you. And so why I say that, if you lower the expectations, there's a greater detachment that happens between the two of you. And then you can go, okay, if this is how they are, what relationship do I want? What do I want to avoid? What do I want to do? When they're in public, they don't seem to do these kinds of things. At least this parent doesn't. So I'll go out and eat with them when it's in public. But boy, I'm not going to get the one-on-one thing with them because that's going to go badly. Then it gives you direction as to what you can do for yourself when you accept who they are and how they're going to behave. As Ross Rosenberg says, observe, don't absorb. You can observe the shaming, don't absorb the shaming. And that's where I have a lot of folks that come to me because they've been absorbing shaming for years, and then they go, I don't know what to do with it. And what they often try to do is to stop the shamer. Give up stopping the shamer. Stop the absorbing. That's what we want to do. And that's what I've got a program, which is, family differentiation, a new road to self. You can find that down below. I think it goes into depth and detail about how you can change these things. And also you can get a year's worth of monthly group sessions with me. Stop focusing on them and their shaming. Focus on you and what you need to do to avoid their shaming, not care about their shaming, see their shaming as their irrationality. Oftentimes I would pretend that my family was schizophrenic. Because if I pretended they were schizophrenic, I had a whole different emotional experience in here. Now, I'm not against schizophrenics. I have treated schizophrenics for a number of years when I worked in the psychiatric practice. I have great empathy and sympathy for psychotic disorders and all those things. But I needed that to help shift to see how abnormal this was. And if I could see them in a way when they're not well, that makes it less powerful what they're saying if they're not well. Like, okay. It'd be like my dog saying, you're a bad master, if he could talk. I go, yeah, but you're the dog, I'm the master. I mean, what am I going to do? We need to focus not on them. We want to focus on our triggering and our systems feelings that we feel. Oftentimes you grow up in a narcissistic family, shame is a systems feeling. It's not a genuine, real feeling. By the way, don't misunderstand what I'm saying. We really do feel it. I understand what shame feels like. Believe me, I understand what shame feels like. I remember in grade school, you have to, I had this teacher who had already been teaching for 40 years when I was in first grade. And she would have you sit in the corner with a dunce hat on, and, everybody gets to stare at you. I understand what shaming can feel like throughout all of my life. And it's a real feeling. However, in a family system, family dynamic like this, even in a classroom situation like my first grade teacher, it's a systems feeling. I need you to feel this so that you will behave a certain way. That's not a true feeling I feel because I had done nothing wrong that was shameful. That I'm not doing anything shameful, but yet I feel the shame. Just like saying, oh, well, now you think you're somebody. Why would I feel shame when someone tells me that? It's ridiculous. It's not true. But if I'm trained and programmed in a way that when I hear that, I feel shame, now I'm controlled by the systems feeling, not the real feeling that I have, which would be, gosh, this is sad. This is irrational. That may be more of a real feeling. Or I'm very sad, or, I don't feel happy that my parent is so unwell that they think this is a good way to communicate. That's more real feelings versus the systems feelings. Maybe not the best examples, but I think you get my point. Then we want to ask some questions. How do my shame feelings keep me enmeshed in the family? How do they keep me enmeshed? When the shame happens, I become more enmeshed. How does that do that for me? Then I want to ask the question, what would happen if you gave up the shame? If I no longer felt shame with my narcissistic parent, what would I think? What would I feel? What would I be doing? Join the program below. We have exercises, training, question and answer, and monthly programs. I think you would find it very well worth your while. I certainly want to thank you for watching today. Please subscribe. Please comment. Please like. I want to thanks again. Have a great day and be wise.